Alright. Budget Magic, Eldrazi, Aggro, and no black source. We're going to try it though. If we can draw a black source, this hand is really pretty solid. Come on, black source. Ghost Fireblade. Well, I like Ghost Fireblade, but it's not going to matter if we never get to cast anything. Hangerback. So this is probably red-black dragons? Well, guess we just play the mountain. Do we want to kill Hangerback now? Probably not. Another Hangerback. There's a black source. Well now I guess we just play Forerunner of Slaughter and pass the turn. Gonna kill a Hangerback when our opponent goes to activate. So I get a token, but we get rid of Hangerback number 1. Now I guess we mostly just want more lands so we can equip Forerunner and equip Forerunner to start attacking and start playing these 3-drops. We really need to kill our opponent before dragons start coming down. Face up Den Protector, activate Hangerback. Wow. Interesting. Come on, untap land. Exquisite Firecraft. Well, I think we're just going to Dominator Drone, hit our opponent for 2, attack with Forerunner. If our opponent wants to trade, they can trade. They don't trade. Whoo! Well, we are pretty close to the burnout point, but we might be in trouble if there's a Dragonlord Kolaghan coming down. Or, Butcher of the Horde. Interesting. So our opponent is playing like 4-color Aristocrats. Makes a bunch of tokens to give the Butcher haste. Gives it lifelink. Well, I think we trade with Hangerback here. Take our beats. Now, we drew a land, so that's good. So now we can Ghost Fireblade up this Forerunner of Slaughter. Attack with Forerunner of Slaughter. And then I think, unfortunately, we just need to kill that Butcher. We really can't let that keep hitting us. And unless there's another Butcher, we're sort of back on track. We can Dominator Drone with haste and hopefully get our opponent into Exquisite Firecraft range. Alright, Kolaghan's command takes care of the artifact and our creature. Valving Wilds. Still don't think we're in bad shape. We get to play Vile Aggregate. It really depends. If our opponent draws another big threat, then we could be in trouble. And Butcher of the Horde is exactly that big threat. Well, they sack for haste. Do they give it lifelink? No lifelink. I think that second Butcher... Yeah. Second Butcher does it. Alright. Roast doesn't seem great. I guess we can bring in the Murderous Cut over a Duststalker. Yes, we'll play first. Let's have a good draw for once. Well, that's not horrible. I can deal with this. Get to play a Sludge Crawler on turn 1. Likely into a tap land on turn 2, and then just start doing our things from there on out. Ooh, we get to play another Sludge Crawler. Alright, so we get to ingest something, Sludge Crawler, Bloodfell Caves, pass the turn. Now we'll probably just Dominator Drone, and then hope to draw land so we can Duststalker. And with this hand, we might be able to close out the game pretty quick. Blister Pod, and tap land. Well, I guess we attack with both. See what our opponent does. Gonna block one. Well, then I guess we'll just pump it. Ingest another card. And then this way we can just play another tap land. Ship the turn. Next turn we're on track for a Duststalker. Or a big endless one, I guess, either way. Opponent passes the turn. Exquisite Firecraft. Well, I think that our best bet is just to Duststalker here. And we're going to attack with everything. If our opponent wants to trade with one of our Sludge Crawlers, that's fine. Instead, they're just going to chump a Duststalker. And what? Searches out a mountain. Do they have a trick? Kolaghan's Command to get rid of the Duststalker. Well, I guess we just pitch Dominator Drone, unfortunately. So they get rid of the Duststalker. We get to double ingest, Zulaport Cutthroat, and a Kolaghan's Command. We gotta save the Exquisite Firecraft because that gets rid of a Butcher. Hangerback X1. Well, let's attack with both, see if our opponent takes the bait. They do not, so we double ingest. Opponent's down to 13. Wooded Foothills and Sultai Emissary. And then I think we'll just go Endless 1x4. I think that's still better than Vile Aggregate. What's our opponent have now? Zulaport Cutthroat, sure. Dominator Drone. Well, let's just attack with Endless One, I think. If our opponent wants to block and get a couple tokens, that's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. So they'll gain a life, and we'll lose one, but we can deal with that. And then we'll just play I think a Vile Aggregate's better than Dominator Drone, since it's trampoline big. Our opponent has Butcher mana, but they don't have a Butcher. Double Sultai Emissary. Attacks with the tokens. Another Sludge Crawler. Well, we are going to attack with everything. Yep, just blocks one. We get triple ingest. They get to manifest Forest, Sultai Emissary, and a Butcher. And then we'll play a Sludge Crawler, play a Dominator Drone, puts our opponent down to 7, and we should have lethal next turn. We couldn't really play those before combat because we needed to leave open the possibility of pumping our Sludge Crawlers. Alright, not a Butcher. That was the only thing I was really worried about. That might be able to keep our opponent alive because they can sack out their board to the Husk. But we'll see. We still have a lot of good attacks. Well, let's play the mountain. Let's attack with everything and see what our opponent does. Assuming this has to be some combination of blocking and sacking. Yep, sacks 1. Gains a life. Pumps up the Husk. Sacks another. Gains a life. Pumps up the Husk. Sacks another. Alright, we get triple ingest. Our opponent breaks even on life. Get rid of another Butcher. Fleshbag Marauder Plains. Now the question is, do we point this Firecraft at I think we have to Firecraft this husk. They would have to sack out the rest of their board to keep it alive. Alright, they let it go. They have 2/1/1s. We have a pretty good board. If they draw a Butcher, that would still be bad. Oh man, what do they have for 5 mana? Oh, nothing? They just attack with both? Interesting. Another Cutthroat. Murderous Cut. They're going to return their husk, try to make us discard this Murderous Cut, but in response, we're going to kill one of those Cutthroats. Now, can we just get in with everything? They're going to play a husk. They can attack for 2, put us down to 5, sack out for 3. Even if they have another creature, we're not dead. I think we're safe to attack with everything here. And double pump our sludge crawlers. Gonna put our opponent to 1. Ingest thrice more. Another Butcher. Bone Splinters, Bone Splinters. Alright. I guess the one card, if they have one copy of Butcher left in their deck, if they top deck exactly Butcher, is it the husk we know about? Merciless Executioner. Okay. That's not that threatening. Because we can just sack a Sludge Crawler. Opponent sacks their token. Alright, land and husk. Well, I guess this theoretically keeps them alive. No, now we just Wild Slash their face. Make them sack before combat. And that's enough to win the game. They would have had to sack out their board, and then we could have attacked for lethal. Woo! Alright, we got through. Interesting. Alright, I think we just run it back. Our good hands can keep up with them. Their good hands are pretty good, though. 1 colorless land. Can't keep that. Well, that is better. Do we keep Bloodfell Caves? Do we want the 3rd land? Yeah, I guess we can draw the 3rd land. We're going to need it. Well, we have the Sludge Crawler Ghost Fireblade draw. So that's not bad. So, turn 1, Sludge Crawler. Turn 2, we can Ghost Fireblade equip. Opponent goes with Sultai Emissary. Well, we will Ghost Fireblade, equip Ghost Fireblade to Sludge Crawler, attack. Opponent's going to chump. Gets their manifest. Attacks with their manifest. What's their follow-up? Cutthroat. And Bone Splinters to kill our Sludge Crawler. Well, that's fine, because we can Forerunner of Slaughter, give it haste, and attack. And we're kind of back on track. We do not have an answer to a Butcher, but they, well, now they have mana. Good news is they don't have much fuel for sacking at the moment. I think this is going to be a close game. This looks like it might be close. Sacks the Bloodstained Mire, gets the Mountain. They're just going to run a Butcher out there. Decides to attack first. Well, no hasty Butcher. What's the follow-up? Merciless Executioner, alright. So we lose our Forerunner of Slaughter. They gain a life. Another Mountain isn't great, but we can Sludge Crawl... Oop. Oh, we can't. Well, I guess we just Sludge Crawler, equip Sludge Crawler, play Bloodfell Caves. Now we want to stop drawing lands. Maybe leaving that Bloodfell Caves on top was a bad decision. There's a Butcher. Are they going to sack their Cutthroat to get in the damage? They're going to do it. Alright, we go to 15, down to 10 from the Hasty Butcher. So Exquisite Firecraft, Murderous Cut are the two big outs. Otherwise, we're just purely racing. Swamp isn't one of those outs. So, well, I guess we attack with Sludge Crawler, pump it up so we hit for 4, ingest, Dominator Drone, puts our opponent to 11. Actually, Exquisite Firecraft, if they don't have another, oh, they have another creature. Merciless Executioner. Well, I guess we sack Sludge Crawler. We need that removal spell, and we need it this turn. That doesn't do it. Just short. So we can hit for 5. Yep.